Hi everyone, this is Lorraine Cohen, and today I want to talk about being in the abyss. So many people are feeling all of the darkness that we're experiencing in the world right now, all of the fear, all of the density, all of the heaviness that has been occurring on the planet for a very long time. And for those of us who are very sensitive to energy, it at times can feel overwhelming. I know I have felt that way many times, and it was reminding me of a time in my life, actually many times in my life, but most specifically a time in my life several years ago. It was right around the time that I had been diagnosed with cancer. My life was falling apart in so many ways. I was at a very raw place in my life, and I wrote a chapter in a book called Embraced by the Divine that you might have seen me posting on my webpage different times, inviting you to get a copy of it. And in the chapter I called it Getting Raw, Bungee Jumping into the Abyss. And in that chapter I talked about being at a place of such pain that you might call the dark night of the soul. And I remember that I was experiencing so much rage against my relationship with God. I've always had a very strong relationship with the divine. And I had come to a place where I felt forsaken, I felt abandoned, and I felt hurt and lost. And the rage was consuming me. And I felt that my relationship with God was at a very delicate place. And it was the first time in my life that I questioned whether my time here was at an end. I've never been one who has been depressed, although I certainly felt it at the time, and a person who has contemplated leaving, and yet I was at that place of wondering, maybe it's time for me to go. Maybe I've done enough. I was so unhappy, and I was finding being here very painful. Maybe that's something you can relate to. And so I wrote about it in the chapter, and I was very hesitant to put it in the chapter because people come to me to move through places like this to recognize that it's a pathway to everything that we really want is coming through some of these very dark places. So I was afraid to admit that I was at that place because here I'm this person that people come to help, and look at what's happening to me. I'm thinking about leaving. And so I put it in the book because I felt it was important. And it's part of my commitment to being authentic, is inviting people to be a part of my journey. And I went to my very close circle of friends in this very deep place of pain, and I talked about how I was feeling. And they were incredible. They didn't try to make me feel better. They didn't try to help me move through it or get rid of my feelings, because they knew that part of the way in which you move through anything is you have to sit in it. You have to allow yourself to feel what you feel. Good, bad, right, wrong, doesn't matter. It's about being fully present with the experience because it's what's happening. I remember one of my friends said, Lorraine, if you really feel it's time for you to go, then go. And another one of my friends said, you'll get through this. Of course, in the space that I was in, I didn't know anything, even though I did know. I didn't want to own it. I was so invested in being really angry. And so they loved me there. They held me there. And they let me be. And I came out the other side, obviously because I'm talking to you right now, and was able to release all of this pain that I've been holding on to come to a stronger place inside of myself. I truly believe that the experiences that we have are for our own healing, our growth, and our evolution. And sometimes we have to go through these narrow places. We call these experiences to ourselves. And I know that's a hard idea and a concept for people to wrap their head around, thinking that life is happening to them. And I don't believe that for a moment. I believe that what I experienced was part of my deep desire to want to live an awake, abundant, and meaningful life. And there was all this stuff, this pain that I've been holding on to that had to erupt in some way. And here I was in that place, uncomfortable, not loving it, and appreciating the value, because the reality is I have always been supported by the divine. The universe blesses me in numerous ways, but this was how I felt at the time. And I realized that I needed to make a decision. In order to live, I had to face the idea of dying, because if I couldn't face the idea of dying, I couldn't make the choice to live, which I did. One of the things I think is very difficult for people, not only for themselves, is when you see somebody that you care about is going through a difficult place. It tugs at the heart. We feel helpless. We want to take their pain away. We want them to feel better. We don't want them to feel what they're feeling. And it's hard to know how to best show up for people, to really love them, not to abandon them, but to hold that space for them so that they get what they need from that experience. To not rush in so fast that we're circumventing the blessing and the gems that they are meant to get from being in that space. My friends really blessed me there, because they understood, having been through those experiences themselves. And of course, if any one of them had been in that experience, I would have supported them as well. When we're in that space, we need to be held. We need to be loved. And so when we rush in so fast, it's usually because we're so uncomfortable seeing the people that we love suffering or appearing to suffer. We want that to end for them. And so sometimes what we end up doing is interfering and interrupting their process. We get through it. We get to the other side of things. I found that the more that I struggle and fight with anything, the more I extend the experience of difficulty. And the key is to let go, to breathe into it, to let go of trying to control, direct, and manage the experience, to move it along a little faster. That's where our egos get in the way. Our souls are brilliant. We are brilliant. We are not our experiences. We're not our thoughts. We're not our conditions. We're not our feelings. We're not our body. We are made of the stuff that creates worlds. And when we go through these experiences, they afford us opportunities to find out who we are. They afford us opportunities to find our greatness. And when people hold that space for our greatness, for our strength, not to see us as weak, as powerless, as in need of being rescued, when they hold that space for our greatness to emerge, we soar. We find our wings. And in doing so, we let go of so many beliefs and illusions about ourselves. And having gone through that experience, we can be of help to others. I'm grateful for every one of those difficult experiences because they have helped me to become the person that I am. So if you're going through a difficult time right now, that's a good thing, because you are close to an important breakthrough. It's a path to the next highest expression of who you are. And if you need help to navigate these periods, please give yourself permission to do that. We're not meant to move through these narrow places by ourselves. and we are never alone. I want to close by sharing a particular quote that's always been very meaningful for me. When we come to the edge of all the light there is and must step into the darkness of the unknown, we must believe one of two things. Either we will find something firm to stand on, or we will be taught to fly. I love that. I'm just going to breathe that in. So I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts. I'm just resting into that for a moment. I feel so much energy moving through me right now. So let me know what you think about what I've shared. Visit me at lorrainecohen.com. If this video was meaningful for you, I hope that you'll share it. And if it has lifted you in any way, I'd love to hear it, because we lift each other. We're always doing that, and together we can transform the world one step at a time, and we do it while standing in our power. We find our power in the abyss, not around it. So if you're there, it's a good thing, even though it may feel like crap. You'll get through it, and when you get to the other side, you will be stronger than ever before, and your life will change. Thank you so much for joining me today. I see there's some comments, so before I get off, I just want to see if there are any additional comments. So anyway, thank you for being with me today, and I look forward to being with you again real soon. Have a terrific weekend. Ciao.